Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Life-Changing True Stories. Today, Sophia Carter pressed the heel of her palm against her tired eyes as the clock on her computer screen blinked past 8 in the evening. The offices of Hawthorne Technologies were nearly deserted, just the way she preferred when finishing up the mountain of quarterly reports that her boss, Julian Hawthorne, needed by morning. The silence was peaceful, broken only by the soft clicking of her keyboard in the distant, on the building's air conditioning. Her phone buzzed insistently on the desk, and she smiled when she saw her best friend Rachel's name flashing on the screen. She swiped to answer the video call, propping the phone against her monitor. Finally, I thought you'd fallen asleep at your desk again. Rachel's cheerful face appeared on the screen, her red hair pulled back in a messy bun. Not yet. But give me another hour, Sophia laughed, stretching her arms above her head. What's up? I'm calling to check on you because normal human beings leave work at 5, not 8 at night. Your boss is working you too hard. Sophia shook her head. Julian's not like that. He actually told me to go home hours ago. I just wanted to get ahead on these reports, so tomorrow would be easier. Julian, huh? First name basis with the billionaire boss, Rachel teased, waggling her eyebrows suggestively. Stop it! Sophia felt her cheeks warm. It's purely professional. Sure it is. So, speaking of your non-existent love life, how did that date go last night with that guy from the coffee shop? Sophia groaned, leaning back in her chair. It was terrible. He spent the entire dinner talking about his cryptocurrency investments and how much money he's made. Then he suggested we skip dessert and go back to his place. Huh? Another one? What did you say? I told him I had an early morning and called a cab. I'm so tired of guys like that. They only want one thing. Rachel's expression softened with sympathy. Soph, I hate to break it to you, but most guys in their late 20s are looking for that. You might be setting yourself up for disappointment with your expectations. Sophia glanced at her computer screen where the video call interface with Julian still showed as active. She clicked the red button to disconnect, watching the screen go black before turning her full attention back to Rachel. I know my standards might seem old-fashioned, but I'm not changing them. I want my first time to mean something. I want it to be with someone who loves me for more than just my body, someone who wants to build a real future with me. Her voice grew more passionate as she spoke. Is it really too much to ask for a man who respects my choice to wait until marriage? Wait, Sophia, are you telling me you're still a virgin? Rachel's eyes widened in surprise. Sophia felt her face flush deeper. Yes. And before you say anything, it's not because I haven't had opportunities. I've turned down plenty of guys. I'm choosing to wait for the right person, for someone who wants to marry me and commit to a real relationship first. Rachel was quiet for a moment, then smiled warmly. Honestly, Soph, I think that's really beautiful. I just worry sometimes that you're going to end up waiting forever for some perfect guy who might not exist. I'd rather be alone than settle for someone who doesn't respect what's important to me. My first time is going to be special. It's going to be with someone who truly loves me, who sees me as more than just another conquest. And if that means I have to wait, then I'll wait. The two friends continued talking for another 20 minutes, shifting to lighter topics about Rachel's upcoming birthday party and a new restaurant they wanted to try. After they said their goodbyes, Sophia packed up her belongings and headed home. Completely unaware that her life was about to change in ways she never could have imagined, 3 floors above, Julian Hawthorne sat frozen in his leather executive chair, his heart pounding in his chest. The video call had never disconnected on his end. When Sophia thought she had ended their earlier business meeting, a technical glitch had kept the line open. He had been reviewing contracts when her conversation with Rachel came through his speakers, and he had heard every single word. Julian ran his hands through his dark brown hair, his mind racing. He should have said something immediately, should have let her know the call was still active. But he had been paralyzed, first by embarrassment, and then by something else entirely. Something that felt like awe. Sophia Carter, his brilliant, dedicated assistant who had worked for him for the past 6 months. He had always noticed her, of course. She was beautiful in a natural, understated way with her warm brown eyes and genuine smile. She was organized, intelligent, and had an incredible work ethic. But he had kept his distance, maintaining strict professionalism because she was his employee. Now, everything had shifted. Julian thought about the women he had dated over the years. Models, actresses, socialites who were attracted to his wealth and status. Relationships that burned hot and fast before fizzling out within weeks. He had never met anyone with the kind of integrity and strength that Sophia possessed. She had values, real values that she refused to compromise. In a world where everyone seemed willing to do anything to get ahead, she stood firm in her beliefs. He closed his laptop and walked to the floor, 2 ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. Tomorrow would be a normal workday on the surface, but he knew he could never see Sophia the same way again. She had become infinitely more interesting, more captivating. The question was, what was he going to do about it? The next morning, Sophia arrived at the office at her usual time, carrying her coffee and wearing a navy blue dress that was both professional and flattering. She greeted the security guard in the lobby and took the elevator up to the executive floor, her mind already organizing the day's tasks. Julian was already in his office when she arrived, which was unusual. He typically came in an hour after her. She knocked lightly on his open door. "Good morning, Mr. Hawthorne. You're here early today." He looked up from his computer, and something in his expression made her pause. His gray eyes seemed to see right through her, intense and focused in a way she had never noticed before. "I couldn't sleep, so I figured I might as well get a head start on the day." He stood up and walked around his desk, leaning against it casually. "That dress looks very nice on you." Sophia felt a flutter in her stomach that she quickly suppressed. "Thank you, sir. I have your schedule organized for today. You have a board meeting at 10, lunch with the development team at noon, and a conference call with the Tokyo office at 3. Actually, I was thinking we could have lunch together instead. Just the 2 of us. There are some new project ideas I'd like to discuss in a more relaxed setting, where professional instincts warring with something else. The development team has been looking forward to that lunch for weeks. It might be better to keep that appointment." Julian nodded slowly, a small smile playing at his lips. "You're right, of course. But perhaps we could schedule something for later this week. Dinner, maybe? Mr. Hawthorne, I appreciate the offer, but I think it's best if we keep our relationship strictly professional. Call me Julian, please. And I understand your hesitation, but this really is about work. I value your input on several new initiatives." Sophia studied his face, trying to read his intentions. There was something different about him today, something she could not quite identify. "If it's about work, we can discuss it here in the office during business hours." "Fair enough," he said, though his smile suggested he was not giving up that easily as the days passed. Sophia noticed the change in Julian's behavior. He found reasons to stop by her desk throughout the day, asking questions that did not really need asking. He complimented her work more frequently, noticed when she changed her hairstyle, and seemed genuinely interested in her opinions on matters beyond her job description. During a morning meeting 2 weeks later, Julian announced a company-wide charity initiative to support local schools in underprivileged areas. Sophia watched him present the program with passion and genuine care, seeing a side of him that the public rarely witnessed. After the meeting, she approached him. "That was a wonderful initiative. I had no idea you were so involved in education reform." Julian's expression softened. "There's a lot you don't know about me, Sophia. I'd like the chance to change that." She felt her resolve weakening slightly, but held firm. "Mr. Hawthorne, Julian, I need to be honest with you. I've heard stories about your personal life, about the different women you've been photographed with at various events. I'm not interested in being another brief chapter in that story." His jaw tightened slightly, but he nodded. "I can't change my past, but I can tell you that none of those relationships meant anything real. They were superficial, empty. But you, Sophia, you're different from anyone I've ever met." "How can you say that? You barely know me." "Then let me get to know you. No pressure, no expectations. Just give me a chance to show you I'm more than the tabloid version of Julian Hawthorne." Sophia looked into his eyes and saw something that gave her pause. Sincerity, vulnerability, hope. Against her better judgment, she found herself nodding. One dinner. As friends and colleagues, nothing more. His smile was radiant. "That's all I'm asking for." The restaurant Julian chose was elegant but not ostentatious. a quiet Italian place tucked away from the main tourist areas. Sophia arrived wearing a simple black dress, her hair falling in soft waves around her shoulders. She spotted Julian immediately at a corner table, and her breath caught slightly when he stood to greet her. In a charcoal suit without a tie, the top button of his shirt undone, he looked relaxed and devastatingly handsome. "You look beautiful," he said, pulling out her chair. "Thank you. This place is lovely." Sophia glanced around at the warm lighting and intimate atmosphere, trying to calm her racing heart. "It's owned by a friend of mine. The food is incredible, and we won't be bothered by photographers here." He settled into his own seat across from her. "I know privacy is important to you." They ordered wine and appetizers, and to Sophia's surprise, the conversation flowed naturally. Julian asked about her family, her childhood in a small town in Pennsylvania, her dreams beyond her current job. He listened intently, asking follow-up questions that showed genuine interest. "My turn," Sophia said, after the waiter cleared their appetizer plates. "Tell me something real about Julian Hawthorne, something that's not in Forbes magazine." He smiled, taking a sip of wine before answering. "Every Sunday I visit my mother. She lives in a modest house in the suburbs, the same house I grew up in. She refuses to move, even though I've offered to buy her anything she wants. We have lunch together and she tells me stories about my father. Your father passed away, didn't he? 5 years ago. Heart attack. He was a public school teacher for 30 years. Julian's voice grew softer. He taught me that real wealth isn't measured in money, but in the lives you touch and the integrity you maintain. Everything I built to honor his memory." Sophia felt her chest tighten with emotion. This was not the playboy billionaire the media portrayed. This was a man with depth, with values that resonated with her own. "I donate 60% of my income to educational charities," he continued. "Nobody knows that except my accountant, and now you. I don't do it for publicity. I do it because I genuinely believe every child deserves the same opportunities I had. That's incredibly admirable, Julian. I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you because I want you to know who I really am." He reached across the table, his hand stopping just short of hers. "The women you mentioned, the ones from the tabloids, they never knew this side of me. I never let them in. But with you, I want to be completely honest." Sophia felt herself softening, her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. "Why me? What makes me different?" "Because you see me as a person, not a bank account. Because you challenge me, stand up to me, tell me when I'm wrong. Because you have principles you refuse to compromise, and I respect that more than you can imagine." Their entrees arrived and the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Julian made her laugh with stories about his early startup days, sleeping in his office and living on ramen noodles. Sophia shared embarrassing college stories that had him grinning. By the time dessert came, she realized she had not thought about maintaining professional distance for over an hour. "I should probably get home," she said reluctantly as they finished their tiramisu. "I have an early morning tomorrow. Let me drive you." In his car, a sleek Mercedes that smelled of leather and his cologne, Sophia found herself acutely aware of his presence. His hand rested on the gear shift between them, close enough that she could feel its warmth. "I had a wonderful time tonight," Julian said as they pulled up to her apartment building. "I did too. More than I expected to, honestly." He turned to face her, his expression serious. "Sophia, I know you have doubts about me, and they're justified based on what you've seen and heard. But I'm asking you to give me a real chance. Not as your boss, but as a man who is genuinely interested in getting to know you better." "Julian, I need you to understand something." Sophia took a deep breath. "I'm not like the other women you've dated. I have certain beliefs, certain values about relationships and intimacy that most people my age don't share anymore." "I know," he said quietly. Her eyes widened. "What do you mean, you know?" He looked uncomfortable, guilt flashing across his face. "The video call that night a few weeks ago? It never disconnected on my end. I heard your conversation with Rachel." Sophia's face drained of color, then flushed hot with embarrassment and anger. "You heard everything? And you never told me?" "I should have said something immediately, and I'm sorry I didn't. I was shocked at first, and then I was captivated. Sophia, hearing you talk about your values, about wanting something real and meaningful, it changed everything for me. So this whole time, every conversation we've had, you've been keeping this secret." She reached for the door handle. "I need to go. Please wait." He gently caught her wrist. "I know I should have told you sooner. It was wrong to keep it from you, but nothing I've said or done since then has been fake. My feelings are real, Sophia. I've fallen for you, completely and honestly." She turned back to him, tears glistening in her eyes. "How can I trust that? How do I know you're not just intrigued by the challenge of someone who won't immediately jump into bed with you?" "Because I'm willing to wait," he said firmly. "However long it takes. I respect your choice to save yourself for marriage, and I won't pressure you to change that. I want to do this right, Sophia. I want to court you properly, earn your trust, prove that I'm worthy of you." Sophia searched his face, looking for any hint of deception. All she saw was sincerity and hope. "I don't know if I can do this. Well, let me show you. Give me 1 month. If after 30 days you still don't believe I'm serious, I'll back off completely. But please, give me the chance to prove myself." Against every logical instinct, Sophia found herself nodding. 1 month, but we take things slow, and you have to be completely honest with me from now on. No more secrets. No more secrets, he promised. The following weeks were unlike anything Sophia had experienced. Julian was attentive without being overbearing, romantic without being pushy. He sent flowers to her desk with handwritten notes that made her smile. He took her to art galleries and museums, learning her tastes and preferences. He introduced her to his mother, who welcomed Sophia with open arms and embarrassing baby pictures of Julian. "He's never brought a woman to meet me before," his mother confided while Julian was in the kitchen making coffee. "You must be very special." At work, they maintained professionalism, but everyone noticed the subtle changes. The way Julian's face lit up when Sophia entered a room. The private smiles they exchanged during meetings. The way he found excuses to work late when she did, just to keep her company. But it was not all smooth sailing. The physical attraction between them grew stronger every day, creating a tension that was both thrilling and terrifying. Their goodnight kisses at her door became longer, more heated. His hands would wander to her waist, her back, pulling her closer. She would run her fingers through his hair, feeling his heartbeat accelerate against her chest. One evening, after a particularly romantic dinner, they were in Julian's penthouse apartment. He had invited her up to see the view of the city, and they stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows. His arms wrapped around her from behind. "I could stay like this forever," he murmured against her hair. Sophia turned in his arms, looking up at him. The desire in his eyes was unmistakable, and she knew her own reflected the same hunger. When he kissed her this time, it was different. Deeper, more demanding. His hands moved over her body with increasing boldness, and she found herself responding in ways that scared her. "Julian," she gasped when his lips moved to her neck. "We should stop." I know, he breathed, but his hands continued their exploration. "I know we should." She pushed gently against his chest, creating space between them. "I'm serious. This is getting out of control." He stepped back immediately, running his hands through his hair in frustration. "You're right. I'm sorry. It's just that being close to you and not being able to fully express how I feel is driving me crazy." "It's driving me crazy too," she admitted, her voice shaking. "I've never felt this way before. Never wanted someone so much. But I can't abandon everything I believe in, even for you." Julian cupped her face in his hands. "I would never ask you to. Your strength and conviction are part of what makes you so incredible. I can wait, Sophia. I promise I can wait." "Can you really?" "Because most men would have given up by now." "I'm not most men. And you're not most women. What we have is worth waiting for." The month passed quickly, and Sophia found herself falling deeper in love with Julian every day. He kept his promise about respecting her boundaries, though the sexual tension between them remained constant and intense. They had long conversations about everything from philosophy to their favorite childhood memories. He supported her decision to enroll in night classes for her MBA, even offering to pay for it. Though she insisted on using her own savings, it was during a company gala, 3 months into their relationship, that everything came to a head. Sophia wore a stunning emerald green gown that made Julian's eyes darken with appreciation when he picked her up. "You're going to be the most beautiful woman there," he said, kissing her hand. The event was at a luxury hotel, filled with business executives, investors, and socialites. Julian kept Sophia close to his side, introducing her not as his assistant, but as his girlfriend. She could feel the curious stares and hear the whispered conversations. But she held her head high. It was when she went to the restroom that she encountered trouble. A stunning blonde in a red dress that left little to the imagination cornered her by the sinks. "Ow. So you're the latest one," the woman said, her voice dripping with condescension. "I'm Veronica Sterling. Julian and I dated last year." Sophia recognized the name from tabloid photos. "Nice to meet you." "Don't get too comfortable, sweetie. Julian gets bored easily. He'll have his fun with you and move on, just like he did with me and all the others before. My relationship with Julian is none of your concern." Veronica laughed coldly. "Oh, honey, you actually think you're special? You think you're different? Let me guess, you're playing hard to get, and he's intrigued by the chase. But the moment you give in, he'll lose interest." Sophia felt doubt creep in, despite herself. "You don't know anything about us. I know Julian Hawthorne. I know he loves the thrill of conquest. And I know that wholesome little act you've got going won't hold his attention for long." Before Sophia could respond, the bathroom door opened and another woman entered. Veronica smirked and walked out, leaving Sophia staring at her reflection in the mirror, questioning everything. When she returned to the ballroom, Julian immediately sensed something was wrong. "What happened?" "I met Veronica Sterling." Its expression darkened. "What did she say to you?" "It doesn't matter." "It does matter. Tell me." Sophia pulled him aside, away from the crowd. She said, "I'm just another conquest for you, that you'll get bored once I stop being a challenge." Julian took both her hands firmly. "Sophia, look at me. Veronica is bitter because I ended things with her when I realized she only cared about my money and status. She doesn't know anything about us, about what we have. But what if she's right? What if you only want me because I'm different from the others? What happens when that novelty wears off? Then I'll spend every day for the rest of my life proving her wrong." He pulled her closer. "I love you, Sophia Carter. Not because you're a challenge, not because you're different. I love you because of who you are. The goodness in your heart, the strength of your character, the way you make me want to be a better man." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "You love me?" "I love you. And I want to spend my life with you, if you'll let me." She threw her arms around his neck, not caring who was watching. "I love you too, Julian. So much." He kissed her right there in the middle of the gala, a kiss that promised forever. The weeks following the gala were filled with a newfound joy and certainty. Julian and Sophia no longer hid their relationship. The office buzzed with the news that their CEO was seriously involved with his assistant. Some were supportive, others skeptical. But neither Julian nor Sophia cared about the gossip. They were too wrapped up in each other. However, the physical attraction between them grew increasingly difficult to manage. Every kiss left them breathless and wanting more. Every touch sent electricity through their bodies. They found themselves in situations where stopping became harder and harder. One Friday evening, Julian had planned something special. He picked Sophia up from her apartment with an overnight bag already packed in his car. "Where are we going?" she asked, curiosity lighting up her face. "You'll see. It's a surprise." They drove for 2 hours along the coast until they reached a private beach house that Julian had rented for the weekend. The sun was setting over the ocean, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink. The house was beautiful, modern, yet cozy, with large windows overlooking the water. "Julian, this is incredible," Sophia breathed, stepping onto the deck. "I thought we could use a getaway, just the two of us. No work, no distractions, just time together." That night, they cooked dinner together in the kitchen, laughing as Julian proved to be terrible at chopping vegetables and Sophia had to take over. They ate on the deck under the stars, listening to the waves crash against the shore. It was peaceful and perfect, and Sophia felt completely at ease. After dinner, they walked along the beach, barefoot, hand in hand. The moon was full, casting a silver path across the water. Julian stopped and turned to face her, his expression serious. "Sophia, I need to talk to you about something." Her heart skipped. "Okay, these past months with you have been the happiest of my life. You've changed everything for me. You've made me believe in real love, in partnership, in building something meaningful with another person." He took both her hands in his. "But I also need to be honest about how difficult this is becoming." "The physical aspect," she said quietly, understanding immediately.
"Yes, I want you so badly, Sophia."
"Every moment we're together, it takes every ounce of my willpower not to cross the line. I'm not saying this to pressure you. I'm saying it because I promise to be honest." Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. "I want you to, Julian? More than I ever thought possible. Sometimes I lie awake at night thinking about you, imagining what it would be like to be with you completely. And it scares me because I've never felt this way before. I don't want you to compromise your values for me. Your principles are part of who you are, and I love that about you." She looked up at him, her voice trembling. "What if I'm ready? What if I want to be with you?" Julian cupped her face gently. "Are you saying that because you truly want it, or because you think it's what I need to hear? I don't know anymore. I'm so confused. My whole life, I planned to wait until marriage. But being with you has made me question everything. Maybe I was being too rigid, too old-fashioned." He shook his head firmly. "No, don't doubt yourself because of me. Sophia, what you want is beautiful. It's rare and precious, and I won't be the reason you abandon it." He took a deep breath, "Which is why I've made a decision." "What decision?" "I'm going to wait too. Not just for you, but with you. We'll save our first time for our wedding night together. It will be special for both of us." Sophia stared at him in disbelief. "Julian, you don't have to do that. You've been with other women before. This is different for you. It's not different at all. Every experience I've had before you was meaningless. They were empty physical acts without love, without connection. With you, I want it to mean something. I want our first time together to be the beginning of our forever, not just another night. You're serious about this?" "Completely serious. We'll wait until we're married. We'll do this the right way, your way, because it's the right way." Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she threw herself into his arms. "How did I get so lucky to find you?" "I'm the lucky one," he whispered into her hair. Holding her tight, they walked back to the house hand in hand, both feeling a sense of peace about their decision. That night, they slept in separate rooms, respecting the boundaries they had set. It was difficult knowing they were under the same roof, but it also felt right. The next morning, Julian woke Sophia early. "Put on something comfortable. We're going on an adventure." They spent the day exploring the coastline, hiking trails that led to hidden coves and eating ice cream in a small beach town. They talked about their future, about the life they wanted to build together. Julian spoke about wanting children someday, and Sophia shared her dream of starting a nonprofit for underprivileged youth. As evening approached, Julian led her back to the beach near their rental house. Sophia noticed something different. There were candles arranged in the sand, forming a path that led to a beautifully decorated area with white fabric billowing in the breeze. Rose petals were scattered everywhere, and soft music played from hidden speakers. "Julian, what is all this?" He turned to her, his eyes shining with emotion. "Sophia Carter, from the moment I heard you talking about your values and your dreams, I knew you were extraordinary. Getting to know you these past months has only confirmed what my heart already knew. You're intelligent, compassionate, strong, and beautiful inside and out. You challenge me to be better, to do better, to live with integrity and purpose." He dropped to one knee in the sand, pulling out a velvet box. Sophia's hands flew to her mouth as tears began streaming down her face. "I don't want to spend another day of my life without you. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep holding you every night. I want to build a family with you, chase dreams with you, grow old with you." He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring that caught the sunset light. "Sophia Carter, will you marry me? Will you be my wife, my partner, my forever?" "Yes," she sobbed, dropping to her knees in front of him. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Julian slipped the ring onto her finger, and it fit perfectly. He pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply as the sun set behind them. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying and laughing at the same time. "I can't believe this is real," Sophia whispered, looking at the ring on her finger. "Believe it. You're going to be my wife?" They spent the rest of the evening on the beach, making plans for their future. Julian wanted to get married within 6 months, and Sophia agreed. They would have a medium-sized wedding, intimate enough to feel personal, but large enough to include all the people they loved. The engagement period flew by in a whirlwind of wedding planning and happiness. Julian was involved in every decision, from choosing the flowers to tasting cake samples. His mother cried happy tears when they told her the news and immediately began planning a family celebration. Sophia's parents flew in from Pennsylvania, and her father pulled Julian aside for a serious conversation about taking care of his daughter. Julian promised he would cherish her for the rest of his life. Rachel was chosen as maid of honor and took her duties seriously, organizing a beautiful bridal shower and helping Sophia find the perfect wedding dress. It was simple and elegant, with delicate lace and a flowing train that made Sophia feel like a princess. But the months of engagement were not without challenges. The physical temptation remained intense. There were nights when they would kiss, goodnight at her door, and both would have to walk away trembling with unfulfilled desire. There were moments when they questioned their decision to wait, when it seemed impossibly difficult. One particularly hard evening, about a month before the wedding, they were at Julian's apartment watching a movie. The kissing started innocently, but quickly escalated. Julian's hands were under her shirt, her legs wrapped around his waist as they made out on the couch. "We should stop," Sophia gasped, but she did not move away. "I know," Julian groaned, his lips on her neck. "God, Sophia, I want you so badly." "Just one more month," she whispered. "Can make it one more month." Julian pulled back abruptly, breathing hard. He stood up and walked to the window, putting distance between them. "This is torture. Beautiful, incredible torture, but torture nonetheless." Sophia adjusted her clothing and joined him at the window. "Do you regret your decision to wait with me?" He turned and pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. "Never. Not for a single second. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I spend every night taking cold showers and thinking about our wedding night, but it's going to make that moment so much more meaningful. We're building something here, Sophia. We're building trust and commitment and a foundation for our marriage that goes beyond physical desire. I love you so much. I love you too. And in 1 month, you'll be my wife, and we'll never have to sleep in separate beds again." Finally, the wedding day arrived. Sophia woke up in her childhood bedroom at her parents' house, surrounded by her bridesmaids. Her mother helped her into her dress, tears streaming down both their faces. "You look absolutely beautiful, sweetheart," her mother said. "Your father and I are so proud of you." At the church, Julian waited at the altar with his best man, trying to calm his nerves. His mother sat in the front row, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. The church was decorated with white roses and lilies, exactly as Sophia had wanted. When the music began and the doors opened, revealing Sophia on her father's arm, Julian felt his breath catch in his throat. She was radiant, glowing with happiness. As she walked down the aisle toward him, he knew with absolute certainty that every moment of waiting, every sacrifice, every difficult decision had been worth it. Sophia's father placed her hand in Julian's with a warning look that said he better take care of his little girl. Julian nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of the trust being placed in him. The ceremony was beautiful. They had written their own vows, promising to love and cherish each other through all of life's ups and downs. When Julian spoke his vows, his voice thick with emotion, there was not a dry eye in the church. "Sophia, you walked into my life and changed everything, showed me what real love looks like, what integrity and strength and grace truly mean. You waited for me to become the man worthy of you, and I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that your wait was not in vain. I promise to honor you, respect you, protect you, and love you with everything I am. You are my heart, my home, my forever." Sophia's vows were equally moving. Julian, you saw me when I felt invisible. You valued my principles when others dismissed them. You loved me not despite my boundaries, but because of them. You taught me that real love is patient, that it respects and cherishes and lifts up. I promise to be your partner in all things, to support your dreams, to build a life with you filled with love and laughter and purpose. You are my best friend, my love, my everything. When the minister finally pronounced them husband and wife, Julian kissed Sophia with all the love and passion he had been holding back for months. The church erupted in applause and cheers. The reception was joyful and full of laughter. Julian and Sophia danced their first dance as husband and wife to a song about enduring love. They cut the cake, toasted with champagne, and celebrated surrounded by everyone they loved. As the evening wound down, Julian whispered in Sophia's ear, "Ready to start our honeymoon, Mrs. Hawthorne?" She smiled up at him, her heart full. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life." They had rented a private villa in the Caribbean for 2 weeks, a place where they could finally be alone together as husband and wife. Flight felt impossibly long, both of them acutely aware that the waiting was finally over. When they arrived at the villa, Julian carried Sophia over the threshold, both of them laughing. He set her down gently and cupped her face in his hands. "I love you, Sophia Hawthorne." "I love you too, Julian. Thank you for waiting for me, for us. Thank you for being worth waiting for." Their wedding night was everything they had hoped it would be and more. It was tender and passionate, awkward at moments, but perfect in its imperfection. Julian was patient and gentle, guiding Sophia through her first experience with love and care. They took their time, exploring and learning each other, building intimacy that went beyond the physical. Afterward, they lay tangled together in the moonlight streaming through the windows, completely at peace. "Was it worth the wait?" Julian asked softly, running his fingers through her hair. Sophia looked up at him with tears of joy in her eyes. Every single moment of waiting led to this. It was absolutely worth it. The next 2 weeks were blissful. They barely left the villa, spending their days making love, talking for hours, swimming in the private pool, and planning their future together. They talked about the house they would buy, the children they would have, the life they would build. When they returned home as Mr. and Mrs. Hawthorne, they moved into a beautiful house that Julian had purchased as a surprise. It had enough bedrooms for the family they planned to have, a large backyard, and an office where Sophia could work on her nonprofit dreams. 3 months after the wedding, Sophia discovered she was pregnant. Julian cried when she told him, holding her close and thanking her for giving him the greatest gift. Their daughter Grace was born 9 months later, with her mother's brown eyes and her father's smile. 2 years after that, they welcomed twin boys, Noah and Ethan, who kept them busy and exhausted and happier than they had ever imagined possible. Sophia successfully launched her nonprofit, which provided educational opportunities and mentorship for underprivileged youth. Julian expanded his business, but made sure to always put family first, never missing a school play or bedtime story. On their 5th wedding anniversary, they sat on their back porch watching their children play in the yard. Julian pulled Sophia close, kissing her temple. "Do you ever regret waiting?" he asked, a question they returned to occasionally over the years. Sophia shook her head firmly. Waiting taught us patience. 8. It taught us that love is about more than physical desire. It gave us a foundation built on respect and commitment. And it made our wedding night, and every night since, more meaningful because we chose each other completely. "I'm grateful every day that the video call didn't disconnect properly that night," Julian admitted with a smile. "I'm grateful you had the integrity to respect my choices even when it was difficult. I would wait 1,000 lifetimes for you, Sophia. Lucky for you, we have this lifetime together, and that's all we need." As the sun set over their beautiful life, their children's laughter filling the air, Julian and Sophia knew they had found something rare and precious. They had found true love, the kind that waits, that respects, that cherishes. The kind of love that lasts forever, and they lived happily ever after, proving that some things in life are absolutely worth waiting for. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to click like. Share this story with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more meaningful stories.